Yahoo! Prof here, and today we're back under the desk, and I've got something interesting for you, an anime haul of sorts, except it's all the same company that it's put out by. And that would be, if you can't tell by these long boxes here, NIS America. They were one of the first after the recession in the US, and then there was a subsequent anime recession that followed, which kind of sucked because that was right along when anime was transitioning from hand-drawn to full digital. I'm not talking the new 3D CG, some of that was there, but mostly we're talking just computer drawn, 2D stuff. Some stuff was doing more and more 3D CG. But what this all is, and we have Hamlet here. How's it going, buddy? Can I move this? So it's a bit of a different anime haul of sorts because it's all from NIS America. I already had quite a few of these premium collection or premium edition ones that are they're actually long. They're 2 DVDs essentially, side by side, and it's because they have an art book in there that runs the whole length. Now, how this started out, and I will move this pile off to the side here. I'm not too worried because some of these are actually unopened, which is kind of crazy because these are many years old at this point. All right, so how this started out was not with Hamlet here. Well, Hamlet was around back then, but was with these ones here, which, and there's actually more because this is Kimi ni Toriki, specifically Volume 3. But what is it about is it's my note here as well. Robert's Anime Corner Store. And what it is they have been carrying used anime. And because I wasn't able to go to any anime conventions this year, I started taking a peek at it, and there's always been some anime that, you got some nostalgia for some stuff that I would have wanted to buy back then, or some stuff I missed, or just couldn't afford at the time, or in this case, someone couldn't afford at the time, or I just didn't know I wanted. Because a lot of these ones that came in from NIS America are especially the early stuff is before Aniplex came into the US, was kind of unique stuff that I don't know if you would have seen otherwise. Hamlet, off of the anime. I know it's interesting because I'm on the floor. He just wants attention, guys. See, he wants the pets. Yeah, see, he just wants the full body pets. Can we fix this? I know how we can fix this. Here we go, guys. It's getting a bit old, but here we have his catnip. Hamlet, do you want that? If you guys haven't seen it, can you go over there with it? This is catnip banana. So look at how cute he is. If you have a cat that responds well to catnip, or if you've never tried it, get them a catnip banana. It was recommended to me by Ryan on Level 1 Tech's news. His cats loved it, and we ended up getting one. Make sure it's got the organic US catnip or whatever in there. There's 2 brands on Amazon. This one and then Yao, I think, is the other one. Both, he's got a new one of the Yao one coming because we couldn't find this brand locally. But as you can see, he loves it, and every cat that I've bought one for some friends and family for their cats, and they love the things. That's how if your cat's annoying you, I guess you get them high. Yeah, we're under the desk because I can have some decent lighting with my ambient lighting turned up all the way here. And basically, they started selling used anime, and they like write conditions and stuff on there. A lot of it's just nice to know it's coming from somebody who actually looked at it, and it tells you if it's complete or if there's damage. Like here we have like a little. Even that, I've had this. Like if you look at the corner here, that happened on brand new ones in the mail, so not too concerned. And what ended up happening is they actually had Kimi no Itoroki, which is an anime I really like. They had all 3 volumes used, some not in as good condition as others. And then that's when this started out, this whole thing of, hey, they got used ones. I wonder if other people are as well. Like that if they are have them available. Took a look on eBay. And these 2 I ended up buying still from Robert's Anime Corner store because either I couldn't find them elsewhere or they had the best price. And I can actually slide one of these open for you. So what it is it will have 2 thin. I should have gotten my mount out. There we go. 2 thin DVD cases. And an art book. Or some of them don't have art books, they have other style things. But this is back, like, and I have some of their earliest stuff from NIS. This was back when Funimation was actually purposely canceling limited editions because it was after the recession in the U.S. And then there was a following anime recession that followed that. And it got hit super hard. And basically what Funimation switched to was trying to sell, because streaming wasn't really a thing, especially for anime back then. They basically tried selling you whole collections for $20. Like you'll see there's save stuff, which they still kind of do today. But NIS started offering anime as a completely different thing. Like they didn't even sell non-premium editions, and there were limited numbers of them. So the thing is even during that recession, there would be otaku and people who like anime that are willing to spend good money on a nice box set. Like they would rather buy one nice box set of an anime they like than 3 or 5 of those like cheap $20 box sets. And that's where they really came through and came back and came up. And eventually they were doing well enough with the premium ones that they made standard editions that are just like the DVD cases, essentially. But they were offering, and these are like really premium, like nice box, nice artwork. The art books are nice. Like here, Bunny Drop, another great one. Actually want to rip this one for my mom to watch. Like, it's just great presentation. And if anything ever came up, they were like I was wrong, they would reprint it and send you a new box. I had one that was done that way. I have 2 DVDs where they noticed like subtitles were wrong or quality was off. Now most of the ones I bought originally were prior to them switching to DVD, because back then, even though prior to switching to Blu-ray, because back then even though Blu-rays were out, no anime was on Blu-ray, because until it went full digital, and even initially full digital anime wasn't HD. So there was some time there until it went actually to Blu-ray. And then why they kind of slowed down, as you can see here, a lot of their titles were actually Aniplex titles. And during this time period, like after they switched to Blu-ray, Aniplex actually opened up shop in the US. And then they pulled their titles from Funimation and NIS America. And then they made those a lot more expensive, or like the last season of Working, which is another, there's Wagnaria, which is Working, like the 3rd season, is sold by Aniplex, not by NIS America. And they wouldn't even license it to them. So, because Aniplex is in the US now. And it's just kind of killed some of these series that they had licensed, that they had, like, I'll have the first 2 seasons of in these here. and you won't get the third or fourth or whatever, the last season or 2 seasons or OVA content, because they weren't allowed to license it. And then sometimes Aniplex just wouldn't bring it to the US, but they wouldn't license it then either. Because, we didn't bring it to the US because we didn't want to bring it to the US. Super annoying. But what it comes down to is I have a lot of the early DVD-only ones, like Toradora, amazing anime. They later re-released as Blu-ray. I really want that premium collection of that. Long out of print. All of these are long out of print, and in many cases, they're the only way to get these series or movies, mostly series they did. But yeah, seeing Kimi ni Todoroki premium collection, all 3 of them in one place, was what I'm guessing somebody traded them in. It seems like people really needed money during COVID, like if they lost their job or if you actually lost somebody. A lot of families were liquidating their collections if they lost that person. And some of this was from both ways. Now, once I looked into this, this is Kimi ni Todoroki Premium 3. Once I found out and started looking into it, I ended up just getting what I couldn't get elsewhere at Robert's Anime Corner Store. Because though he has stuff, he also knows what it's worth, whereas people on eBay might not. Anohana, which is another great series. I would say a lot of the NIS stuff is within the same sort of genre. They definitely knew the market they were selling to. A lot of slice of life, a lot of drama, a lot of romance stuff, and comedy would be the other. They don't really go too far out of that, and it sits within that sort of niche. And eventually I will be sorting these by release date. Now, then what ended up happening is I went on eBay. And these, you might have seen me also mention in a previous episode, I ended up getting From the New World and Colorful signed from a guy who had to sell them off because he had lost his job due to COVID, and he was trying to just, that's how he's making his money while he was looking for an additional job. And I was happy to put them in my collection because they were out of print as well, and they were even signed, I think by mostly U.S. voice actors, which is not hugely my jam, but yeah. So these 2 stacks were actually all from the same people. This stack was from the same person, and then this stack was from the same person. One of these 2, I don't remember which, was from another anime, like you'd see at an anime convention, like one of the anime salespeople. I don't know if they took them in on trade. These are obviously still brand new, and the fact that I got some of the prices on these for being brand new is crazy. Because normally, being that these are out of print and they're premium editions, they carry a high cost, additional cost. You saw Bunny Drop earlier. This is a very chill anime. Depending on how you are, even if you're a dude, you might cry, but it's about bringing up that girl. And it's just super cute. Check it out if you like that sort of stuff, or if you haven't tried that sort of genre before, because I know a lot of people who kind of get into anime and like a certain genre, and they just watch that genre. This is a very good one that in the specific genre, and kind of unique too. Older person, like post college, we're talking, taking care of a kid, a professional essentially. You've got a job, that sort of stuff. A lot of times that's undercovered in anime. All of these ended up being new, except for Daily Lives of High School Boys. Wagnaria. Working is probably one of my favorite, I would call it a slice of life comedy anime. It's based in a family restaurant, and the crazy antics that ensue. I would recommend looking at it. That's one thing I will also say with NIS America, the ones they did license, especially early on, I think it got a bit wider as they could license more and more. But especially early on the DVD side for the most part, and then early Blu-rays, they were very, very tight about what they were choosing. Everything that they got was good. Like even if it wasn't necessarily some of the stuff, especially when they widened their reach, wasn't necessarily my choice. It wasn't bad stuff. It was just not my genre or whatever. Um, and I gotta give them props for that because it's a lot of times like places like, and they might have been paying more, but because they're selling premium editions, they know they can get it. But like a lot of times Funimation will be stuck with all these like third-rate series. It's kind of how like you end up with all those cable channels. Well, if you want Discovery Channel, well, you have to have all of the Discovery Network channels. They won't let you just get just Discovery. Same thing kind of happens with anime from publishers. They'll a lot of times bundle one that didn't do so hot. That wasn't necessarily bad, but didn't do so hot that a licensor might not want in with one they do want, just to make money off of it. It makes sense. Arakara Onto the Bridge. The first time I saw this was at an anime convention. This is second season. I believe there's even more seasons. I don't remember if NIS has access to those or not. But an interesting comedy. Wasn't one that I thought I would like initially. And I watched like I said, a lot of times when I go to anime conventions, they have what are called viewing rooms. And if I see an anime there that I haven't heard of, or maybe I've heard of and I just haven't seen and I got nothing else going on, but especially if it's something I haven't heard of and haven't watched, I'll make time and go check it out. Usually they'll show the first 3 to maybe 4 episodes in there. And it's always interesting. Some certain vibes you get with especially comedy anime, or like a really big, like sometimes you'll go to a movie theater and especially like watching Star Wars or Star Trek or James Bond, like you get a certain feeling of being in the theater with, even if it's not that many other people, but just other people. Same thing happens when watching especially comedy anime in a group of people that appreciates that sort of thing. Like I watched, if you guys have seen GTO, I went at a convention I went to, I believe it was Daisho Con. Might have been Neurobrand. I don't remember exactly. But they had a marathon of GTO, which is Great Teacher Onizuka. And I had never heard of it at the time. This was many, over 10 years ago. And never heard of it at the time. And marathon. And I was like, oh, I'll leave after a couple episodes or whatever. No, it was so good. I stayed I was up overnight and because it was going into the closing day of the convention and I knew I didn't have to drive home at the time. Because I was young enough where I wasn't driving. I stayed and watched the whole thing until we had to go, essentially. So this was like overnight. We started pretty late into the night, and then it went over through the night, and then I just slept on the drive home because of it. So, recommended. Watch GTO, even though it's a older style. I think in the U.S. it was only done by, originally at least, done by Tokyo Pop, just like Initial D. There might be a newer release since then. Otherwise, go to your usual other places. This is one that I will say that I initially, when I watched it back in the day, did not necessarily get into. But at some point, I would like to have every one of the big wide box NIS America premium editions. I'm getting pretty close already. And this is in the genre of things I like. And maybe I just need to be able to give it a watch again. I do know some people who really like and respect this anime. So, like I said, this might just be one of the ones in my tastes, which is kind of odd because, like I said, this genre is generally something I like. Nyarko, I don't remember. I think Crawling with Love is the original one. This is another crazy, loony anime. I would consider, crap, I was trying to think of the other one I would compare this to. That was a Shaft anime. Let's see if my computer will tell me. And it's one I don't own, too. This one reminds me of... What do you have here? Oh, you got a Gertrude, guys. There's a Gertrude. And for some reason I remember the second season more than the first. I don't know what to tell you. What happened to it? Well, it was a Shaft anime from their second studio, so it was more of a, not intended as being as much of a like a bigger hit, but it did well enough to get a second season, and it was one of those second seasons where I think they didn't necessarily plan on it. I'm sure once I see it, it's not like XXX Hawk, but it's in that same naming scheme, I want to say. Maybe my brain is. Hopefully you're throwing it down in the comments below if your brain... Ooh, Himidari Sketch. Love that one. There should be some NIS stuff for Himidari Sketch as well. I do already own some of their stuff. I have a lot of art and pieces from that anime. Maria Holic. Here you go. It's the one where the main character is a guy that dresses up as a girl. And that took longer than expected. And we have a Gertrude still here. Okay, so you got Narco. I feel like this is it's a bit crazier than that, but it's in that same vein. And this is one that actually I originally didn't think I would. Like, it seemed like too crazy and all over the place for me, but I ended up quite enjoying it. So here, then, we're on what I got from another seller, and these were all new as well. Hanasaku Aroha. I might be saying a lot of these completely freaking wrong, because a lot of times this stuff, even though I may actually know how to pronounce it properly, I only say in my head. I don't know if you guys only read stuff often, like say if you only read books and then you go to say like a word you've only heard in a book before, that kind of happens. Or in this case, a lot of these stuff I've only read, essentially. And Kimi no Todoroki Volume 1 and 2, these actually end up being, I think, right around the same price, or maybe slightly more, but they're brand new copies. And then Volume 3 apparently is way rarer. I don't know why, but it is. So, yeah. And then I had to get that one used from Robert's Anime Corner Store. But I highly recommend, if there's stuff that you want, or even just to browse. Like, you might have been to, say, a Suncoast Video back in the day, or a Sam Goody, or like the old school Best Buy anime section. But especially like Sam Goody and Suncoast, like, browse Robert's Anime Corner Store. A lot of the used stuff is that era. And even though I feel like there might have been like a Blu-ray release, since then that might be better quality. Usually the boxes, like if you're actually going for like a collection, like a visual thing on your shelf, the boxes are nowhere near as good as they were back then. Just because that was also back when they could still sell you anime as a single volume. But yeah, so Kimi ni Toki 1 and 2, and then the series and the movie, which I actually have not seen the movie. I've had it for quite a while, in one form or another. But I think a buddy, which we Frozen Slate's older brother and I marathon this at one point. It's in like a couple days when he was back from college or something like that. Just chilling out and watching anime. Something I don't do as much with others as I used to, just because people aren't around as much, and I work more. That's life, guys. But so that's that stack. Ugh. We're getting pretty tall now that it's not all crazy. And this, if you have seen some of my updates, will be going on the new shelf. Because I purposely put one long enough to hold these longer books here. The shelf is a foot deep. Now some of these, I ended up getting... Oh, and here is volume 2 of this one. I think I paid, I ended up getting because I had the movie and the series 2 already. Some of these second volumes are much more rare, and you'll see that because they'll have printed the first one in a larger volume than the second one, because they know about, you're not going to buy the second one and not the first one. So they know about how many people bought the first one, so they can lower or raise production as, they would never raise it because they only print so many of them. But so usually the later volumes are harder to find because demand not has increased, but they understand demand more when they make them. Like that one I did buy brand new, I think, purposefully, and I had to spend a little bit more money on it. Here's Ground Control to Psychoelectric Girl. Another one that I enjoyed. I watched it. I wouldn't have put this, like, this to me is not like Working or Kimi ni Todoki or Bunny Drop. Like, that's like amazing. But it does fit squarely into the genre of what they're aiming at with those, and especially Nyarko-san, and stuff like that. Then we have Fuse, which is, I actually watched this, I don't remember, I think it might have been in theaters. I've definitely seen it before. Good movie. This box art is freaking gorgeous. I love the matte finish with the shiny logo and stuff, or like the shiny lettering and stuff like that. This one ended up being just a really good deal on, because once I started looking around for these, I started more searching for like the premium edition stuff, and some of these, especially, like, see, they're used. Some people were just letting these go, and you could see looking through their sales, like they weren't selling anime collections like some of these other guys. And those two big groups, I actually got nice deals on too, because I was buying so many, essentially, or I get a great deal on shipping, that sort of stuff. I got Arakawa Under the Bridge. This is the first one. Ended up having to find this one because I ended up getting the second one for, I want to say, like $30 or something like that. Like, it was crazy. And I would say in this case, the second one's probably more common. I don't know why that is. But it is. And you can see, like, some of these, like, are this more gloss style, and some are like this Fuse that are the matte. I think the older style ones of the gloss, might be wrong there. But that sums everything up here. And if you guys see any of these, any of the premium edition stuff for sale someplace, especially if it's for a good price, let me know. There are two that I really want, and they're pretty much the most expensive one. Katanagari. This is a very rare one. I believe it's one of their first Blu-rays. I don't know if it's because the volume was very low or it's very sought after. They're like full hour-long episodes. That one, if I can find a collection of that for a decent price, I think some of those are going for $200 to $300 for like one half, essentially, because there's two parts to it. And then the other thing would be the re-release of Toradora on Blu-ray. That's another one that goes for a good chunk of change. A lot of times, though, it's even hard to find somebody selling it that doesn't have it listed for a huge amount. Like, I'm willing to pay a decent amount of money for it, but I'm not going to go on eBay and just, press buy now on a $300 one. Like, no. I'm looking for something bid or something like that. Something where it's not like an anime one that somebody traded in not knowing, or a parent or something like that, not knowing what they had, or they just had to get money. And one of these places that really knows what they have is selling it. Ideally, I want to find something that hasn't been jacked up in price, because I really don't think, and I was looking through sales on eBay, I don't think they're getting that for them. They're just, everybody's listing them at that because that's what everybody else lists them at. You know what I mean? It's like, oh, but they're rare, but if nobody buys them, they're not actually worth that. So just keep an eye out, especially on Toradora. If you haven't seen Toradora as well, watch it. Great anime. The opening is one of the best openings in anime ever, if you ask me. Highly recommend you check it out. If you, as always, guys, if you have any questions, comments, throw it down below. Otherwise, you can hit me over on any of my social media. I'm most active on Twitter. It's @theprophecist, as always. And our website is the-tech-exchange.com. Since you're on our YouTube, you probably may have noticed, but we do actually have our own custom URL now, which is just The Tech Exchange. So youtube.com/The Tech Exchange now gets you to this channel finally. And as always, everywhere else it's Tech Exchange because The Tech Exchange, I picked something pretty darn generic, but other people helped me out here a lot, and I didn't want it to be like just The Prophecist, even though I do the bulk of the content. And we'll see you in the next one. It'll probably be, at least anime-wise, the next anime one will be once it's all up on the shelf and I have it reorganized. We'll see you then.